not even mean Bowers Game
Hi
Corner.
there, YouTube. I'm back again for another How to Play video, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Chip 'n Dale's Christmas Treasures card game. This is for ages 5+. It's for 2 to 6 players from Funko Games, and the first thing you're going to want to do is shuffle this deck of Christmas tree cards right here, and then you're going to create a 6-card stack like so, making sure you put the star on the very top. Next, you're going to get events numbers 1 through 6 and place them in order with the lowest event on the top and the highest event on the bottom. If you're playing a 4-player version of the game, you'll get rid of Event 6, put it back in the box. And if you're playing a 5 or a 6-player game, you're going to get rid of Event 5 and Event 6, putting those back in the box. Whoever ate the last candy cane is going to be the first player, and now you're ready to start the game. This game is played in rounds, and the first thing you're always going to do at the beginning of a round is draw the top event card and do whatever it says. Now, there's 2 types of events in the game. There's events with stars right here, and there's events with stars not right here. If the event doesn't have a star, that just means you're going to do whatever the text on the card says, and then the first player is going to take their turn. However, if it does have a star, the first player is going to grab the star token and then perform the actions on the card. And then they're going to pass the star token to the player on the left because the game will always be moving clockwise around the table. And then this player would take that activity. And they'd pass the star to this player, and they pass it until it gets back to the first player, who then places it back on top of the tree and then proceeds to take their normal turn, which is what we'll talk about next. So on your turn, what you're going to do is kind of a press your luck aspect. So all these Christmas tree cards in the center, you're not allowed to look at unless you do it on a turn or because of the action of a card. So on your turn, what you're going to do is, one at a time, you're going to flip treasures over. So we'll start with this one right here. This is a great card because it doesn't have Pluto in the top left-hand corner. Because if you flip over cards and you happen to get 3 Plutos in the top left-hand corner of the cards that you flip over, Pluto has caught you in the tree and you must stop flipping, and you're going to get less reward. So you want to stop before you flip over 3 Plutos, and you can stop whenever you want. So I can stop right now, but I don't want to. I'll flip over this one right here, and now I have 1 Pluto. I'm feeling pretty safe still, so we'll go right here, and oh wow, that's great. And don't worry about all the symbology on the bottom of the cards right now. We'll talk about the scoring in a minute. Right now, we're just focused on the Pluto, so we'll flip over another one. This is a really great turn, and now we're at 2, and now I might decide to stop. Now, since I stopped before I got 3 Pluto faces, I'm going to collect 2 treasures from the Christmas tree. Had I flipped over a 3rd Pluto face, or in this scenario, actually a 4th Pluto face, I would only get to collect 1 treasure from the tree. But since I stopped, this card would still be face down. We would have no idea what's there. Now, when you collect treasures, the treasures go in front of you, where everyone can see them. You'll score these points a little bit later. Also, you can't collect things that are face down, so I couldn't just say, oh, I'm going to take this as one of my 2 treasures. Now what I'm going to do is flip these cards back over and then replenish the cards in the tree for the next player's turn. So now this player would once again flip treasures, collect their treasures, refill the tree. This player would do the same thing, and then it would get back to this player, which means we've now begun a new round, and we would flip over another event. So whenever it gets to that first player, you're always going to be flipping over a new event. The game will end when you finish a round and you don't have any more event cards to draw, at which point you will tally up your score, and the player with the most points wins the game. If there's a tie, you share the victory, but now let's talk about the scoring. So there are 5 types of cards that will score you points in the game. The first are ornaments, and I actually collected a pair of ornaments, which means I would gain 3 points. Now, if I only had, say, 2 chips or 2 Dales, so let's just say I had this at the end of the game, I would score no points. You have to have both chip and Dale in order to score points. Same thing with the candy cane. If you have a candy cane chip and a candy cane Dale, and once again their artwork does look different, you will score 3 points. And if you happen to have 2 candy cane chips and 2 candy cane Dales, then you'd get 6 points, and so on and so forth. This applies to all the different cards, so you could do with ornaments as well. Next we have acorns. These ones are real simple. This is just worth 1 point. And bells. These are worth 2 points. You don't have to collect anything else with them. They're just easy points. Last, and certainly not least, we have popcorn. And if you have 3 Chip 'n Dale popcorn cards, you are going to score 5 points. If you only have 2 or 1, you score nothing. And once again, if you have 6, you'll score 10 points. But remember, each treasure card can only be scored once. So for instance, I could not score 6 points off this because I only have 1 of them. 2 last minor rules. If you ever have to peek at something, that means you get to look at it, no one else. And events are mandatory. Even if you don't want to do it, you have to do events. But that is Chip 'n Dale Christmas Treasures card game. If this helped you out, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy learning new games, as I teach new games all the time. But as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. This video is brought to you by all of my amazing Patreon supporters, and I would love it if you would join their ranks and have your name immortalized in the end of many of my videos for the end of time. But consider for only $1 a month, and as always, thanks for stopping by.